My fellow Nerdigans, welcome back to another episode of That's So Nerdy. Today we've got a gameplay video for you, and it is going to be Dark King Mechikabura versus King Cold. King Cold, for those who don't know, starts with King Cold's Dynasty on the field, which makes it so you can play multiple field cards, as well as not being able to pop field cards by just playing another copy of it. And then I am piloting Mechikabura, and Tommy is piloting King Cold. And I go first because I won the dice roll. As you noticed there was a little bit of a skip. That's because I had to take a phone call really quick, but luckily it was right at the beginning of the match, so it didn't really get in the way of too many things. Alright, I start up by pitching 2 Dragon Balls. He doesn't have anything in his any battle cards in his drop yet, so I'm not able to warp a battle card out of his drop, but then I play the 1-drop Mechikabura down, which allows me to draw a card, and then if I pay 1 black energy, I also get to play a Shroom, Toa, or Salsa from my deck. So that's actually useful once you remove all the Dragon Balls from the game for your Leader's Awaken ability. But it's not always something that you want to use. So Tommy here, he's trying to get everything set up. Plays out Paragus. Yeah, he played out the Paragus with the anticipated onslaught. Swung at me, and doing all my lead stuff to try and get all my Dragon Balls and everything. I didn't have any Dragon Balls in my life, which was really nice. That's always something that's really, really nice with Mechikabura, because you have the potential of awakening with 8 life still, which is really, really strong. So the 2 Dragon Balls I searched out from the deck are going to be 2 of the Dark Empire Strikes Back. And then pitch 2 Dragon Balls, draw 2 cards, and then pitch a Dragon Ball and a Shroom to draw 2 cards. Because with the Empire Strikes Back, you can pitch another Dragon Ball or a Demon Clan card in order to draw 2 cards. Then I tap 1 to play out Toa, which is going to allow me to warp the Paragus and then warp 1 from his hand, and he gets to draw 1. And then Toa, when you play her out with the ability, you also get to send 2 Dragon Balls from your deck to your drop, which is going to allow me to awaken. So boom, turn 2 awaken, and then I'm able to play out my Unison. Or is it turn 2 or is it turn 3? Yeah, it's turn 2. And since I am awakened and that 7 life, I feel pretty confident tapping out here to play out my Unison, especially considering how much damage I'm doing to him and he's doing to himself in general. I've actually been waiting a really long time to put a good match for Mechikabura and a good match for King Cold onto this channel, but it turns out that the matchup was going to be against each other. I had no idea it was going to work out that way, but Tommy said he wanted to take a crack at King Cold, and I wanted to play Mechikabura, so that's just how it shook out, and it ended up being a really, really fun game, honestly. So now Tommy gets to awaken, which is pretty par for the course for King Cold. He usually awakens turn 2 no matter what. Very few times do you not get to awaken turn 2 with King Cold. So now here he swings in and he's going to activate battle to pop a new ruler, which is going to proc anticipate its onslaught's ability to pop my Mechikabura because it pops a 2-drop or less. And then when a new ruler gets popped, you get to draw a card and then discard a card. So you're changing the quality of your hand there. It can be very, very useful at times. And then I took the damage from that swing. So he decides to go in with Unison, and I take the damage from the Unison swing as well. Now here is where things kind of start to get interesting because there's a lot of back and forth from here on out, honestly, which is what made this matchup a lot more interesting than we really expected, and it's pretty awesome if I do say so myself. I really like how it turned out, and I'm really excited for what's coming out in Realm of the Gods. So Black finally gets that blocker counter. Because yeah, that's definitely going to be going in all my Black decks, just like the Ultimate minus Energy Ball, the free play counter for Black is in all my Black decks currently. I don't know why it took Bandai so long to give Black what every other color had. I think they were still just trying to lean on the fact that it's like, oh no, Black isn't supposed to be its own archetype, but they kept making archetypal stuff. So I guess they finally embraced it and just like, we should give them tools that every other color has. So it's really nice because you don't have to rely as much on power burst or petrification or protector of the people. Petrification and protector of the people, of course, you have to pay energy and pitch cards in order to use their full abilities, and it just doesn't always feel good doing that because not every Black deck has a really, really good draw power. Fortunately, though, Mechikabura is one of those Black decks with a lot of draw power. So you obviously see me get up here. I'm going to give my kid, my youngest, some water because he was thirsty. So I popped over to the sink real quick, got him some water, sat back down. I'm pretty adept at card games, so like even when I'm doing stuff, I can get up and or even when I'm playing, I can get up and do stuff and still play. Typically, I'll be able to remember what's in my hand unless my hand's ridiculously huge. But I mean, that's just how it goes. Sometimes you got to do other stuff, especially when you're still at home. Yeah, this is Tommy's first time playing King Cold, so he doesn't really doesn't fully understand the dynamic of the deck, and honestly, he didn't get that great of a hand. He got a decent hand, got some good key cards, but I also think that if he would have made a couple different plays, things might have went a little differently. But I am able to, with his Mechikabura deck, especially the build I have now, the amount of board control you have is actually really, really good. And it's just nice to be able to to just be like, oh, you thought you were going to get benefits from that card. Well, you're not. But as you can see, Tommy played out another copy of a new ruler to search the top three of up to three from the top of his deck. And then because he played that, he's going to play out the Cooler for Cooler's ability by paying one instead of two, which is honestly a pretty smart play. Yeah, he's trying to add some pressure to me, trying to make things hurt a little bit more. Now he plays out his Berry Blue, and unfortunately for King Cold, none of the cards really have any protection. So Mechikabura, with the amount of spot removal and just inherent board control that it has, really kind of puts up a bit of an issue for King Cold because there's a couple things that you want on the board and you want them to stay on the board in order to optimize your plays. For example, your Berry Blue and your Paragus. If you can get your Paragus to sacrifice and your Berry Blue to stay on board, then not only does the draw power of King Cold almost triple, I would say, but it also makes it so you can proc the field abilities multiple times, and you don't have to once you get a certain set of fields, you don't have to worry about running out anymore because you can just cycle them from the drop using your Berry Blue. But with Mechikabura, I'm able to do degenerate things like this, warp it, and then I activated the blocker in order to keep him from activating the leader swing, and then I the uh, countered the unison swing, so he couldn't do the activate battle to give it a boost, even though it wouldn't have been a huge boost. But with the amount of pressure he was trying to apply, I didn't really want to risk it. But since Supreme Kai time only warps it until the end of the turn, Cooler comes right back because I end my turn after the unison swing. But now I steal the Cooler and I pop it to play Ginyu the Body Snatcher. And he thought long and hard about trying to counterplaying this, and I gave him a nice long window to see if he wanted to or not. And he ultimately decided to let Ginyu rock, which might not have been the smartest idea on his end, but I mean, sometimes it's a risk you're willing to take. All right, so now he goes to Dormant Potential me, and I remind him that, hey, you have a Unison on board. You don't have to pay for Dormant. And he was like, oh, yeah, that's right. And then he pitched an Anticipated Onslaught to proc the Floodgate ability of Dormant. And then also super combos out to combo out of the attack that is going on currently. So now I only have one more swing, and I'm going to allot it to my 20k double striker to see if he is willing to take that damage. And he's not. He plays Royal Supremacy and then uses Royal Supremacy's ability to pop my Supreme Kai of Time because it was the only one that he could target because it's the only one small enough. Like I said before, like this is where the game like gets kind of crazy because it's response after response after response, and there's it for as much as going on the board. There's not like a whole lot going on as far as our life points. So I played out another Mechikabura in order to draw. Played out a Toa in order to warp one of his cards. Well, actually, I wanted to warp one of the cards from his hand and one of the card. So he would get to draw one, but I wanted to change the quality of his hand. And then he counterplayed with the Frieza. So by doing that, I targeted Frieza for the removal for Toa, and then he chose. I reminded him he didn't have to choose the Toa for Frieza's counterplay ability to KO it, but he decided to go with the Toa anyway. Because at the end of the day, it is another blocker. It's more defense for me, and at this point, he is trying to whittle down my defensive options. That way, he can try and do some damage to me, because it's been a while since he's done any damage to me, and vice versa. I haven't done any damage to him in a long time either. And that just goes to show how defensive both of these decks are. And honestly, they're both defensive and aggressive, but the difference between the two is there's more inherent spot removal with Mechikabura than there is with King Cold. King Cold, you have more responses that you can do, but you as far as spot removal goes, you don't really have a whole lot with King Cold. So he plays out Golden Frieza, Pinnacle of the Clan, which, I mean, anybody who knows it's one of the boss cards of the deck. At this point, it is the boss card of my cooler deck here, or not cooler, sorry, my King Cold deck here, because I currently don't have the Zamasu Deity's Wrath. So I use Supreme Kaya Time on the Frieza swing and then warp the Frieza. That way he can't proc the Frieza's ability. But then, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I don't have the Deity's Wrath Zamasu currently. I'm waiting on Mythic Booster to come out for me to be able to have access to that card, because I just didn't have the $80 to spend on one card. Got kids, you know. I'm actually really stoked about the Mythic Booster, because, well, I mean, pretty much everybody who knows what they're talking about is stoked about Mythic Booster, because so many cards just weren't accessible due to price. But now it's like, oh, I can finally like really finish off these decks that and optimize them so they're good. All right, Unstoppable Invasion to give his leader plus 10k and double strike. He's swinging in with Unison. I counter that and then activate Blocker in case he wants to activate Battle on his Unison. Because honestly, that's another one of the boss cards of King Cold is the Unison itself. And anybody who doesn't know that can get really hurt by that -3. So I take the 2 damage from the double strike swing at lead, or from lead, and then he passes turn. And then I tap myself out, because again, I'm still really confident. Play out Shenron the Wishmaster, give my leader plus 15k and triple strike. Oh, excuse me, I apologize for that. But then I proc my leader's ability to remove the Dragon Balls from the game to give it triple attack. And then I remove 2 markers from my Unison for its Floodgate ability, and I start going in with my leader, 30k triple strike. Boom, he takes the first hit, takes him straight down to 1 life. And then my leader restood. I swing again. and this is where he calls it. This is, and I'm showing him what I would do later. But if you like what you saw, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. It's greatly appreciated. And just stay nerdy.